everyone, welcome to Club UX, your one-stop shop for everything related to UX. In the last video, I had shared my story. What is my background, how I came to US, how I got the job at two FAANG companies, how I was able to crack the interviews at these two FAANG companies. I also gave you a couple of tips and tricks so that can help you get started with your interview process. In this video, I'm going to share with you the interview process, what sort of questions are asked, what sort of rounds are there that can help you get started with your interview preparation. If you have not watched the last video, please make sure that you click the link in the description box. I've added the link there. And before I begin, please make sure that you subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up so that it reaches more people like you. First thing first, wherever you are in this job search process, maybe you have just thought about searching for a new job in the UXR field. Maybe you are already searching. Whatever stage you are in the job research process, I would recommend one thing, which is to start preparing. And prepare as if your entire life depends on it. You have to prepare for it. A UX research interview primarily seeks to assess four things: your behavioral skills, technical skills, presentation or communication skills, and your collaboration skills. At most big companies, if you have applied for a full-time role and if you have gotten the invitation to interview with them, it will take at least between 4 to 6 rounds of interview. And if you're applied for a contract role at any company, or if you are interviewing with a medium company or a small scale company, then the number of interviews will last between 2 to 6. So it depends. For most of the contract roles, it's not going to be more than 3 rounds of interview. So how do you know how many rounds would be there? If you receive a call from a recruiter, you have to ask the recruiter themselves that how many rounds would be there. The recruiter is your best friend in the entire interview process. Also ask the recruiter who would be taking the interview. Also ask them if they could share the name and also the LinkedIn profile of your interviewers. It can also help you get started and also help to ease you out a little bit if you go to the LinkedIn profile and check out the sort of work that they have done before. Maybe you have sort of worked on the similar projects in the past, or maybe perhaps you have worked in the same company or the industry before. So it sort of helps you to build that bond with the interviewer. Another way to know about the next round is the end of the interview. So end the interview by saying thanks to the interviewer for taking out the time to interview you, to talk to you, and also show your interest that you are really excited to know about what the next steps be about, and you will be looking forward to hear back from them. So this sort of asserts your interest in the role. You can also prepare accordingly. With this, now let's come to the exciting part. The first round is the initial recruiter screening. It's an initial assessment by a recruiter to evaluate your qualifications, experience, and fit for the role. Most of the time, this first screening is usually through telephone. However, I have given like 2 to 3 interviews where the interviewer has spoken to me through a video conferencing. Depending on the company that you have applied for, it can range anywhere between 10 to 45 minutes. For the full-time roles that I had applied for Google as well as for Meta, it had lasted for more than 40 to 45 minutes. However, for most of the contract roles, it can generally last between 10 to 15 minutes, where they would just talk to you about what you have done in the past, why are you looking for the job, and then they will just have conversations around what the pay rate you're looking for, how much they are willing to pay. Whatever be the case, be ready with an elevator pitch on yourself, like what you have done in the past, what is it that interests you in UX research, why you have applied in this role, what sort of projects that you have done in the past. You can also add like a little bit of human touch by talking about your interest. Don't go overboard like you like hiking because of this, or you like cooking and these are the dishes that you like to cook, but just give like a general impression about what sort of things that actually interest you outside the research as well. Second, also talk about what sort of researcher are you. Are you a quantitative research or are you a qualitative researcher? If you are a qualitative researcher, then don't say that you are a qualitative as well as quantitative researcher. Maybe even if you have done a couple of surveys in the past, you can say that you are a qualitative researcher and you have also done some surveys in the past. The recruiter might also ask you questions on your UX research process. Here they want you to see what sort of a researcher you are, what is your decision-making processes, how do you collaborate with your stakeholders, how proactive are you. They might also ask you to share what sort of projects that you have worked on. Take 3 to 4 minutes and just explain at a very high level what was the problem, why you work on it, how did you work on it, what sort of research methodologies that you used, and how did you in fact arrived on using this research methodology on this project, and also share the impact that you made with this research project. Overall, you have to leave the recruiter with this impression that you are this happy, jovial person who's interested and passionate about research, who's also very excited about this job opportunity, who have good command on multiple research methodologies and also always eager to learn new things, and that you are the perfect fit for this role. With this, the real interview process kicks up, which is usually a behavioral round where the interviewer assesses your interpersonal skills, work style, and how you handle different situations. This round is usually conducted by the hiring manager, who may be a product designer or maybe a product researcher or a UX researcher. It may range between 30 to 45 minutes, but it will take at least 30 minutes for each interview. Here, the interviewer will ask you situation-based questions to assess how do you deal with these situations, how flexible you are, how you handle the stress, how do you handle the people who are very challenging in the work atmosphere, and basically assess how do you in fact even collaborate with people. Some of these situation-based questions or behavioral questions typically starts with, tell me about a time when dash dash dash. Describe a time when dash dash dash. For example, tell me about a time when you worked with a challenging partner, or tell me about a time when you worked on a challenging project, or tell me about a time when you had to work on a research project at a very condensed timeline. So how do you answer this question is based on a STAR methodology. STAR methodology is a structural way of answering behavioral questions. It starts by setting up the context, by setting the situation, the problem that you were in, what sort of task that you did in this situation, what was the action, and what was the ultimate result. And how do you prepare for these questions? You just have to Google online top behavioral questions asked in a UX research interview, and you will get a lot of questions. And how you can practice them, just jot down the questions on document or on a piece of paper. Think about the situation that you were in, what sort of task or what sort of actions that you took, what was the result, ultimate result. So go to YouTube to see how these people have answered these questions. And then you can add your own personal flavor by taking the real life examples from your life. And then just write it down, practice as much as you can. The best way to practice is to read out loud as if you're talking to a real person. The interviewer wants to see how flexible you are. How do you handle all these situations? So you have to convey that you're a flexible person and also take the challenges head on. And that you are the one who can collaborate very easily with people and are very easy to work with. And that you are the one who doesn't wait for the directions from your stakeholders or from your manager. You are the one who leads the group. You are the one who provides direction to the people. With this, we come to another round, which is the technical round, which is very exciting and also very unexpected. Here, the interviewer will evaluate your knowledge and skills related to user research methodologies. They will assess your ability to identify the appropriate methodology for a research project based on the specific program in hand. So some of the questions includes, pick up an application, pick a problem that you would like to resolve and walk me through your research methodology, or talk to me about how would you increase the user engagement of this application. Or talk to me about, let's suppose that a product manager has approached you with this research problem. Talk to me about research process, each step by step. How will you approach this? Interviewer wants to assess your UX research process in real life, not something what you say you do, but how you actually do it. They want to see how do you arrive to pick a research methodologies, how you think about questions, how do you arrive at a sample size, how do you think about what sort of target users you would want to interview, how do you collaborate with multiple stakeholders on this research process. They want to see your critical thinking and decision-making process in this entire UX research process. They will also probe you at each and every step. Why did you choose this research methodology? Why did you pick these questions? Why did you collaborate with them? It will make you feel that maybe what you're saying is wrong. But there are no right or wrong answers. What they're trying to understand is what is your approach to solving a problem in a real life. For contract interviews, I've had these research exercises most of the time with a senior UX researcher. Once I had with a director of UX research. And for the full-time role that I've had at Meta, I had 3 back-to-back technical round. One was with the researcher, one was with the product designer, and the third one was with the hiring manager and with the product designer. The last round that I've had was a whiteboard challenge exercise. However, for most of the contract roles or any other full-time interviews that I have applied for or have appeared in, I never had any whiteboard challenge. And how do you prepare? Just Google. So Google what sort of research exercise are asked, what sort of research exercise are worked on during UX research interviews. I checked Google, and I also checked Glassdoor, where people have mentioned their own experiences, like what sort of questions were asked to them and how did they prepare and what sort of answers did they give. Make a note of all these questions and start preparing. Be your own critique. So whenever you are resolving this research exercise, just think, why are you taking this step? Why are you collaborating with these people? What would be the ultimate result of collaborating with them? Why and how you are thinking about the sample size. Just be your own critic, or maybe what you can do is maybe you can practice it with your colleague, maybe someone who's also in the UX research field. With this, we have the portfolio presentation round, where you have to be ready to present 1 to 2 case studies, and you should spend about 20 to 25 minutes on each presentation. If it's a 45-minute interview, then you just need to prepare, like, for one case study, spend 20 to 25 minutes explaining the case study, and then rest of the time would be spent by the interviewers, where they would probe your research methodologies. Why did you choose the sample size? What was the impact that you made, and everything. They want to understand your UX research process. Sometimes it can also be a 1 hour long case study, where you will spend 20 minutes on each exercise, and then the rest 15 minutes will be spent by the interviewer probing again about your research methodology and the entire process. Whatever the case is, you have to be ready with an additional case study always. So it depends from company to company. Maybe you will have like a separate portfolio presentation. Maybe the behavioral round would be combined with this portfolio presentation. Maybe a research exercise or the technical round will be combined with this portfolio presentation. So I think it would just depend from company to company. For most of the contract roles that I've had, it has always started with a behavioral round, and then in the next step, it's the portfolio presentation. For most of the contract roles that I've appeared for at Meta, it started with a research exercise, and then the second round has always been the portfolio presentation, followed up by the behavioral based questions. So I think whatever be the case, you have to be prepared for all these rounds, irrespective at what step of the interview process you are in. That's why I've said always be prepared with all these questions, even if you have not even started with your interview process. Always present through a slide deck. Maybe you have your projects on Behance, maybe you have a website, but it's always a good practice to present it through a slide deck. Okay, with these, I have explained all the rounds in the interview process. I hope that you found it helpful. And again, I can't stress how important it is that you start preparing for the job interviews, even if you're not in any stage of the interview process. The more you have prepared, the more confident you will be. With this, I hope that you found this video helpful. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you like this video so that it reaches more people, and I will see you the next time. Also, if you want any sort of help from me, if you're looking for any guidance or just chat in general related to UX, I've added my Calendly link. Book a session there. Till then,